1 cup of water mixed with, we started out with about 1.5 cups of flour mixed with our xanthan gum, salt, and we want to get this as a initial consistency, which is, it's just about got enough strength. We've added enough flour to get a consistency where it will just about hold its own weight, and we're going to let that rise for about 30 minutes and come together and see where we're at that point. Here's our first test pizza dough after about 45 minutes rising, and it's almost doubled in size. What you'll note is that it has become a little bit puffy. It's also probably just a little bit wetter than what we'll want to work with. So we're getting a little more flour to this mix. So we'll add a little more of the same flour blend and mix that up. And take it easy, maybe just go with about a tablespoon at a time. That's why we check it after about 30 minutes to see how it's setting up and what the moisture content is going to be. You want to have it so it's a little bit like stiff mashed potatoes, and we don't want to get it too dry. So another tablespoon of flour, and this is probably going to be about enough. And then we'll put this back on to rise for another 15 or 20 minutes or so, and then we'll set it aside before we roll it out. So we're going to spread the dough a little bit, and we're going to redust as necessary. Pick it up with the super peel, set it back down maybe 2 times, maybe more depending on how the stickiness of the dough goes. So anyway, we'll just lay that out on our floured surface, and I prefer not to roll this with a rolling pin if we don't have to. I find that it's much easier on the dough to just press it down, press it out. It won't degas as much. And also, if you use a rolling pin, you may find that the dough is sticking to the rolling pin, whereas your hands, very easy to just flour up a little bit more and press it down. So I usually like to go about maybe halfway out. So we're going to do a 13 or 14 inch pizza when we're done here. So spread that out about 7-8 inches. We're going to dust our super peel with a little bit of our gluten-free flour. And then we're just going to lift the dough once and see how it's adhering to the rolling board. Okay, not bad. If you have a little bit stuck down, this is maybe left over, there's a little bit, just scrape it off with your bench scraper. And redust the surface with a little more of your gluten-free flour, and set your dough back down again. And then just continue to spread this gently from the center out. And we're going to be looking for about an eighth of an inch thick when we get it spread all the way out. Okay. So now we're out to about 10 inches, and I'm going to say maybe time to just give this one more lift. Set back down again. Very, very easy to do and well worth checking just to make sure you're not sticking down. Redistribute the flour. And you don't really need to overdo it. And set it back down gently with your super peel. Okay, now we'll put a little more on the surface, and I'm just going to roll this flat after brushing that around with the silicone brush. See how nice that works? It's actually spreading the dough a little bit. Okay, so we'll use a small rolling pin, and just very, very gently from the center out, and get that out to about our 13 or 14 inch diameter. Okay. Now if you want to, you just try to just go around the edges and just build a little bit of crust. It kind of pushes the ragged edge back together too if it's started to separate a little bit. This whole dough now is spread out to just about an eighth of an inch in thickness, and that's about what we want. So there you go. We're all ready to top this. Now, again, I mean, it doesn't hurt. You can always pick it up and put it down again. I would do it more than not, just so you can check the size too, but also just to make sure once we get our toppings on there that we're not going to be sticking down. This is a very, very sticky dough, and I'm just going to clean that work surface again. Use your bench scraper. Get rid of any stuck down dough. There wasn't really very much there. It's a very, very light dusting of flour, because our next move is going to be from here to the oven. Okay, so just for like our regular pizza we did as our standard, our control. We're going to top this with some canned. These are the San Marzano tomatoes, and I do find them to be a little bit different. They've got a little nicer aroma. They're a little meatier. So maybe they're worth the extra money. Of course, salt. Just dust it lightly with a little bit of salt. A little bit of fresh cracked black pepper. Just like that on there. And anything else you might like in terms of herbs or seasoning. So, we're just going to put our cubes around. Cube your mozzarella, especially the fresh mozzarella, because if you shred it down, you're going to find that it melts down too much. This way it doesn't melt quite as much, and it just ends up with a nicer finished pie. And this is 4 ounces, a half of a small 8-ounce ball, which is more than enough. Okay, and then that's really it. And we're going to drizzle it with the EVOO. Thank you, Rachel Ray. Rachel is a local girl. We're doing this in upstate New York. So, Rachel grew up right just north of us a little bit, up near in the Lake George area. Okay, we've got about an hour and 15 minutes. Preheated the baking stone at 550 degrees, and we're ready to go with this to the oven for about 5 minutes. Okay, so here goes our first gluten-free pizza test of the bake-off, and we are using the 2-stone setup, as you can see. We do like this, and we're just going to place this right in between the stones, and just reverse the motion of the peel and set it down. And she's off to bake. We'll check back in about 4 or 5 minutes. We've been in about 6.5 minutes. Now, one of the things you want to do at this high heat, you don't want to overbake a gluten-free pizza, and see, it is just starting to brown up a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and top this with the basil and a little bit extra virgin olive oil, just drizzle on top, and we'll go back in for about another 45 seconds. And I think at that point we're going to call it done and see what we have. Okay, so we're going back in for another minute, and it should be done. Okay, it's been about another 45 seconds to a minute, and we're going to take her out. Oh, it looks very nice. It has not browned a lot, but just starting to brown up a little bit on top. Let's see how this looks. See that it's a nice kind of a golden light brown. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. Now it's we'll give this a nice cut with the pizza cutter and see how she sounds. This is one of our ultimate tests here, just to see how crunchy or crispy that we got this. Yeah, not bad. Here's a little crunch under there. For me, I'd say let's zoom in and have a look at that cut edge. See, we got a nice crispy bottom and a little bit of rise in the dough, and you can see a nice kind of a transition layer. And I think that's something you don't get, something I like, and you don't get that when you do a pre-baked or a par-baked crust and then put your toppings on. I like the toppings to kind of meld together with the crust. I think that makes it a little more traditional. Couldn't leave you guys in the total dark. This is really quite nice. Well, not bad.